Everybody's going to the party, have a real good time.
I'm Andrew. And I'm David. Today we're in a 2009 E2 VE HSV Maloo R8. Yeah, it's a mouthful when you say it like that. Yeah, a lot of little things to fill. But it's a very late 09. It's the first of the E2 series. Quite a cool little car. I say little, but it's not. We've been bombing around it for a couple of days now. I'm actually getting quite fond of it, to be honest. It's got the, E2, that means it's got the 6.2 litre. Yes. It's got the DRLs in the front bumper, which look pretty cool. Yep. This one is the 6-speed manual. They got the LS3. I think they were on 3.4 diff gears. I'm not 100% sure about the diff gears, but they do run. They've got diff gears. They have diff gears in there. Specs on the engine. This one, again, being the E2, it's the 317 kilowatt LS3 and 550 newton meters of torque. When you were looking them up, did you get to look at the torque curve? Yeah. Is it early? It's pretty linear. It's pretty linear, but it peaks at, I think, 6,000 RPM, which is, I think, high revenue for a stock V8. For this thing, yeah, it is quite high. And being the R8, it has got the massive HSV brakes. It looks, I think they look cool. Every time you walk up to the car, it's such a prominent part of the vehicle. Yeah, they're big brakes, and a lot of people probably don't know that when you buy a HSV Maloo brand new, there's actually two options. You can get the R8, which is this one, or the GPX model. But, like, to buy brand new, they're actually $10,000 cheaper than this. And there's a lot of things you don't get on that one that you come standard on the R8 model. Yeah, so you don't get the full body kit, you don't get the brakes, you don't get the cool sail planes on the side of the tray, or the cool tray humpy thing. No, that gangster hard lid. The big brakes. There's a lot of things. It's almost just, it's more like a, it's an SS, like an SS with a different engine, I think. Yeah, and a different front end. So anyone that's watching this from overseas, the Maloo is like the special or the sporty version of the Holden Ute. It's based on the SS platform, so it's still got the V8, similar gearbox and diff to the non-HSVs, but you get the full body kit. So it's got a big front bumper, awesome side skirts, very contoured rear bar. Actually, the bar looks really good when you spend some time looking at it. Yeah. I didn't realise how much work's gone into the rear bar. You get the tray, tonneau cover, hard lid with the humps, and the big thing which I think's always set the Maloos apart is the sail planes. Yeah, they look awesome, especially on that massive hard lid as well. Now, don't hold me to this one. I'm fairly confident the first Maloo was a VS, so that's 94, 95, 96 generation. And even them, they had the extended little B-pillars. And it is definitely a Maloo tray, and it makes them look different. Throughout the generations, the Maloos come out with, they started off with the 5 litre V8, they moved into the 5.7 litre LS1 in the VU models, and they've gone up to, as someone goes through a red light, Hyundai drivers, they've gone up to the later LSs, the 6 litre and the 6.2, 6.3s in the VEs, and they've just released that new one that's got the LSA, which is awesome. Yes, yeah, if you don't know what the LSA is, you should just Google the new Maloo or HSV GDS or anything, and yeah, you'll see, and here's some power drifting with a big supercharged one. Yeah, here in Australia, if you don't know, The Holden Maloo is, especially the R8, it's the ultimate workhorse. Well, that's what it's marketed as anyway. To be fair, it's not. It's almost a shame to use it as a workhorse.
Yeah, I was going to say, they are a workhorse, but they're bloody nice to ride in. They look pretty cool.
They look sick, man. Like Andrew said before, we've only had this a couple of days. We've been cruising around, getting familiar with the car, and no, I don't think any other cars have the sort of looks that this thing gets from young
rolled
ladies.
around in like brand new ISFs, the M5 when that was a really new and expensive car, M3s, pretty much everything German. That Gembala Porsche we were rolling around in for a little while.
That thing's awesome.
Like super special rare cars, nothing gets looked at like this. It's pretty weird.
And there's no one's spiteful of it.
Yes.
Like even if they're, back at Burnside, not really an upper class citizen. They don't hate you. Whereas if you cruised up, I mean, I've seen people drive through Merchant or Malabar in Ferraris and just get shit yelled at them.
Yeah, which is a shame.
It happens. It doesn't happen with the Maloo. Yeah, to drive, they're actually quite nice. It looks like a small car, only having two little doors, but it's actually fucking big. It's actually on the Statesman chassis, which a lot of people don't know. But
I didn't know that.
No, it is a bloody big car. It's wide, it's long, and on top of that, you just can't see anything. Well, from your shoulders forwards, anyway.
Yeah, visibility is definitely lacking on these models. And it's caused by the way the B-pillar's set up, and then with the bigger sail planes and the humps, it's real hard to see out the back of this thing.
Yeah, like essentially it makes the B-pillar nearly a metre long.
It's funny you mention this on the Statesman chassis. Like, to me, and I've driven around a little bit now, it's really comfortable. I was expecting sports car hard. I was expecting it to be harder than an SS, like a more utilitarian car. Well, but it's just comfortable.
To be fair, the handling has quite impressed me because it's still very sporty. You can have a lot of fun in this thing, but it's not at all rough. No. It's even when you accidentally hit a bigger bump or a small pothole, it just soaks it up.
I reckon it absorbs road bumps and that sort of stuff better than the M5. I think it's more comfortable than the M5.
It's definitely
suspension-wise.
Yeah, I mean, it's done a lot less kilometres than the M5, which could have something to do with it. But I know HSV had to put a lot of development into the E2 suspension. The first generation of the Maloo, because of the super wide tyres they put on the rear, they thought that it won't be necessary, it will not need a rear sway bar. So E1 VE Maloos do not have a rear sway bar. So to compensate that, they put really stiff suspension and springs on the front and rear. You basically just get a really horrible, harsh, jittery ride, and as soon as you start driving spiritedly, it just wants to push forward through the corners, and it's not so tail happy. This thing's just completely different. For starters, it has a sway bar on the rear, but also it's not floaty yet. It soaks at the bumps, and it doesn't understeer. It does the opposite.
So these being quite an expensive car, they're, like we said before, they're up to close to 70 grand when they're new. They're not bought by kids, not when they're new. They're bought by normally businesses that use them as a write-off for tax, that type of thing. Because you can still sort of argue that you can chuck a load of stuff in the back. Don't know if you'd want to, but it's still a full-size ute in the back. So when they're new, they've got that sort of stereotype that wealthy people buy them. But when they sort of get that 5-10-year-old mark, you start to see the younger generation, the hoons, driving it. it does create a bit of a stereotype for the Maloos, because once they do get a bit older, it's rare to find one that's not been played with. Most of them have got cams and slammed on the ground. They look cool and they sound awesome.
They look awesome.
But it does generate a bit of a stereotype for hoons and a hoon car.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I guess when they get into people that wanted to treat them like that, unfortunately, a lot of them do get worn out and don't really get taken care of, and
that's it.
Which makes ones like this example in particular, which is a bit of a bloody minter if I'm honest, all that more rare, because I mean there's not a mark on the interior. The paintwork is immaculate, and it's literally just ticked over 40,000 kilometres. It's crazy.
So this one's fitted with the 6-speed manual gearbox. Are they the TR6060s and the VEs?
Yeah, the Tremec. They up to the VEs. They always use the T56s. But yeah, got rid of that and put this beast of a box in there, which is pretty cool.
That one has got a short shifter in it. It feels awesome to shift, especially when you're getting up the top of the revs and you want to shift quickly. It's a real nice, precise smash through the gearbox feeling.
It is. There's no plan in it. It's very it's stiff. It's rugged, but it's not hard. It's a good box. It's nice.
So this particular version, it's pretty much standard, apart from the Walkinshaw air intake and the Walkinshaw exhaust, which is a pretty common addition for those wealthy people when they're buying new. It's had 2 previous owners. It's just ticked over 41,000 Ks. It's had every 6-month service done throughout its entire life. It's been so well looked after, and again, we're lucky to have a chance to have a play in it in such good original condition.
Alright, so here's just a cool little spot. As we've come for such an early morning drive, we've come up the Geelong range, which you may be able to make out there. Very nice little drive, and you get a pretty wicked view as well. So, yeah, here she is. Here, do you want to run around?
Yeah, I will start at the front of the car. So being the Maloo, it's got the DRL in the front bar. E2 brings it the scoops in the bumper. E2 HSVs also had the fender flares. Nice little addition. These are the brakes that we were talking about before. Awesome bit of kit. Moving down to the back of the car, they have the Maloo badge on the bottom. They had issues with the Series 1s getting them to stick to the sail planes, which is why they mounted them down on the bottom. And it's also got the Maloo side skirt. These are the sail planes, which has become such a significant Maloo trait. Maloo hard lid's got the twin hump set up on the back. It's actually a very well built hard lid. Are you alright to pop the... Can you pop the tray? Yeah, it essentially works like a fully secure boot section. It's all sealed.
Twin seal and a huge plastic.
Yeah, nice and safe. Yeah, essentially gives you probably the biggest boot a car's ever had. At the back of the vehicle, the Maloo gets the tailgate garnishes, which are not featured on any other vehicle. And this is the rear bar. I'll try and get some of the contours in there. It's almost like a diffuser style setup. Yeah, it looks awesome. And this is the Walkinshaw exhaust tips that's on this model. This one is fitted with 20-inch wheels, which were an upgrade. I'm fairly confident they're off the Senator models from the E2 range, but just a slight upgrade from the standard Maloo R8 one, which were 19s from memory. And they're a really good looking wheel.
And here's the interior. Again, it is specific to the Maloo, if you couldn't tell. Awesome embroidery in the suede seats, which look awesome. A lot of the interior is like obviously the initial shape of it. Some of the switch gear is the same from just the Commodores, which is sort of expected. But it's quite a nice cabin to be in. Like I love even the instrument cluster. The HSVs obviously have these 3 gauges, which I know I saw some people on the forum saying they're quite gimmicky, but they're actually pretty useful, especially the oil temp, because yeah, I guess that's a That's a truer definition of when your engine's warm rather than just the coolant temp down there. So that is handy to have. Yeah, the infotainment system is actually okay. Again, with the E2s, they upgraded the stereos to, I think, a 7-speaker system, which from memory is 3 more speakers. There's some speakers down here behind the seat and also a subwoofer down there, just to add a little bit extra. It's not brilliant, it's no Harman Kardon, but it does the job. It's pretty good. And yeah, again, just an improvement over their previous models, so got to give it to them for keep trying. Dual climate control as well, which in such a small cabin works amazingly, especially on these hot Australian summer days. Probably my favourite thing about the car is the launch control, which they say is controlled by the Bosch ABS system. But to initiate it, you do just press the ESC button just once, which puts it into... you may have missed that. Yeah, there you go. And apparently, once it's in that mode, it's ready to do the perfect launch every time. But we'll, I guess we'll find out.
You can hear how the Walkinshaw causes that induction noise. It's friggin' sick. Let's go and get these runs done. I'm just going to go and find a quiet spot since our normal test drive is not available today. But yeah, we'll find a quiet spot and see what we can do with it. These were rated at 5.1, I think, out of the box. They were. I'm pretty sure every HSV from this era was 5.1, except for maybe the GDS, which was 20 grand more or whatever. But they said with the launch control, the manuals will do it, and obviously the autos are always a little bit quicker, so the autos just do it anyway. It feels like it's not gonna do that. It's like everything. Nothing gets that close to its factory time. And maybe it would if you could sit there, warm the tyres up on a perfect bit of road. Oh, if you had brand new tyres, brand new suspension, brand new bushes to absorb every little bit of momentum and to get perfect traction, and you warm the tyres up and you warm the drag strip up when it was on a drag strip on a cold day, yeah, it's probably possible. But real world? No. Alright, let's go and see what we can do. Cool. So, 6 seconds dead. Yeah, it's, well, I don't know. Launch control. You thought it was going to go quicker. I thought launch control was going to help get it closer to what they say. It is always easier to get it closer to the factory times in autos, and that just comes down to driver ability and how hard you want to be on the cars. These are not our cars, so we never really push them to the absolute limits. We don't want people pushing to the limits, no. But be more of a real world off the lights type time. Trying to make excuses here. But what was it? Was it 6.4 with launch control? 6.4 with launch control, and then 6 seconds dead when you turn
without
everything
launch control, and with traction on 6.1, 6.2,
6.2, I think.
6.2. So pretty much bang in the middle with traction on. It pretty much eliminated all of the wheel spin, but hindered the power, and it was so slow coming through the rev range.
Yeah, it was nothing. Traction control just kept it out of its optimum torque band.
Yeah, and launch control, it just fried it. The launch set at 4,800 RPM.
That's quite high.
In this thing, with no weight over the rear wheels. The launch control instructions are pretty much to turn it on, engage first gear, flat out. It'll sit at whatever RPM. and then sidestep the clutch, which doesn't feel right, but you do it, and it just fries the tyres. When launch control was off, I did use the clutch a little bit more.
Slipping.
Yeah, which helped with traction and got a little bit quicker.
One thing I've got to say, hearing it do the runs, the Walkinshaw package is wicked. To get the intake sound and the exhaust sound, even on the D-cell after you've given it a full bit of stick, the pops and crackles. The crackles are pretty cool.
Pretty sure this hasn't had a reflash or been retuned or anything. Like, it's still got a MAF in there.
It's very docile.
It is, yeah, actually.
The way it revs is very docile.
Especially, that's one thing the LS3s had over the LS1s, the flyby throttle body.
Yes.
Sometimes you can feel it. You stand on the throttle and it just doesn't respond.
The computer's going, do you want to accelerate yet?
Yeah. Whereas at least with the LS1, with that cable throttle body, it was instant.
Overall, the more time I spend in this car, I like it. Like, I know we've been playing with that M5, and I like to compare the two because they're similar type of car to me. You buy them for a similar reason. You want something semi-comfortable to go around in, but you want to be able to put your foot down and have some fun when the time's right. I'm starting to like it a lot.
I agree with you, and I guess a comparison to the M5 is probably fair. There were similar eras as well.
It's alright, it's an ambulance.
Yeah.
Not that we're paranoid of sirens.
Go for it. But I do really like it. It is growing on me, and I am surprised, even though it wasn't that quick off the line. I mean, it's not slow by any means. It feels quick, doesn't it?
It only feels slow when you're under 5,000 RPM. If you're winding out second and third gear, it's snappy and it's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I meant the actual time that it got sort of doesn't really show how quick it feels, but it's copped a bit of a hard time, and the clutch never once faded, which I did actually. I could be wrong, don't hold me to it, but I think when they decided to install launch control on all of the manual HSV E2s, they took the clutch from the W427.
Oh, really?
So
W427 clutch.
Yeah, all these have got them in it.
That would make sense. The VXXS that we were playing around with 6-7 years ago, that car, if you did one hard launch or even a pull,
you could roll it on, couldn't you, on the highway?
The clutch pedal would go to the floor.
Yeah.
Something weird. This does not have that problem. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, appreciate you watching, guys. If you did like it, please give it a like and a share, and hit that subscribe button to see some more videos.
Thank you very much.
Peace out.
Peace.